Welcome to another Michigan football show. I'm Aaron McMann, joined by Ryan Zuke, who's filling in from Bryn Nickel this week. Ryan, let's get to it.
Yeah, let's start off with Brandon Peters. Coming in the second quarter against Rutgers, goes 10 of 14 passing for 124 yards and a touchdown. Doesn't come in, though, until the second quarter when it's a 7-7 game. Why don't you think he got the start?
I think Jim Harbaugh was a little hesitant about throwing him into the fire. You know, he did say earlier this week that Peters had been ready. He'd shown what he needed to in practice in the last few weeks, but you got to keep in mind they went in to play Penn State. It's not exactly an environment you want to throw a redshirt freshman into, but he was calm, cool, and collected, and that's something his teammates have raved about him the last few days.
Definitely, and do you think he's done enough to be the starter moving forward, or does he still have a little bit more to prove?
I think in Jim Harbaugh's mind, I think he's a starter. You know, Harbaugh was asked Monday during his weekly news conference whether or not, you know, he had shown enough, and I think he has, but barring a meltdown in practice, I foresee Peters being the starter Saturday against Minnesota.
In Michigan fans' minds, Brandon Peters is the savior of this offense, but there's also a lack of depth around him right now with a few injuries. What can you say about that?
Yeah, Peters is only going to be as good as the folks around him. You know, right now, Ty Isaac is out with injury. We don't know how serious it is. We don't know if he's going to miss Saturday, but he did leave the game against Rutgers. We now learn that Grant Perry is injured. They're lacking some weapons around him, so Peters is either going to have to make things happen on his own, which could happen, but keep in mind, he's only a redshirt freshman. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to throw interceptions. He's probably going to fumble some balls, so he needs those around him to be there for him and to kind of clean up his mess when he does make one.
So if he does get the start on Saturday against PJ Fleck's Minnesota Golden Gophers, what type of defense is he going to be up against?
Mr. Fleck is back. Jim Harbaugh was asked about him Monday during his news conference, and he had good things to say. You know, he said that this team looks ready, that they're fast, they're playing for him, and I think you see that specifically on defense. You know, their secondary's done a good job. They're ranked 4th in the Big Ten in passing yards allowed. They've got a boatload of interceptions, so there'll be a challenge there.
Now, offensively for Minnesota, their offensive line's been great all year, allowing the fewest sacks in the Big Ten, but their quarterback play, very inconsistent, juggling 2 guys.
Yeah, they've gone back and forth all season long. Demery Croft got the start Saturday against Iowa. Connor Mona's another guy that they could throw in there. It presents challenges for Michigan because they've really got to prepare for 2 different guys. I think Croft will likely start. He did throw an interception against Iowa.
Yeah, like 9 of 26 for 100-something yards. Not a good performance from him.
No, and that's been a problem all season long. They haven't gotten consistent production on, like you mentioned, on that quarterback spot. And I think that's where Michigan can seize this game.
Now in the receiving game for Minnesota, there's one guy you really have to look out for, which is Tyler Johnson. He has 7 of the team's 9 receiving touchdowns all season. Lavert Hill's probably going to be on him for most of the game, but overall, the Michigan secondary has to limit those big plays as well.
Yeah, and I think that's where Michigan wins this game. You know, secondary in a better game against Rutgers after their struggles against Penn State. The defense as a whole for Michigan is for the most part, played well. You know, the offense is going to sputter. I know that sounds crazy to some Michigan fans, but Brandon Peters is still working through some things. He's still learning the offense in the playbook. Michigan wins this on the defensive side. I'm going to say Michigan 21, Minnesota 10.
Michigan opened up as a 14.5-point favorite. I don't think they get there. They haven't been very good against the spread all year, but it'll be close. I have Michigan 27, Minnesota 14.
That wraps it up for another edition of another Michigan football show. Check us out next week as we look forward to DJ Durkin and the Maryland Terrapins.